sensational.
Wheel-to-wheel stuff. Look at this, they're almost touching.
And Hamilton's onto the grass, and Hamilton's had a massive crash, and he's crashed into his teammate. The two Mercedes come together.
Seeing him then retiring just in the last lap, it's shocking. I went to see him. It's not the way you like to win a race.
Max Verstappen is the youngest driver ever to win a Formula One World Championship Grand Prix.
Michael Schumacher has driven absolutely magnificently.
A new winner in Formula One. It's Pastor Maldonado and Daniel Williams. They realise why they come racing.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, yep.
This win is important as much for the team as it is for Ayrton and his fans.
All sorts of problems there. Hamilton takes the win.
Get in there, Lewis. This is more like it. Let's keep this up.
The European season is officially upon us. We're back in beautiful Barcelona, a city and a circuit that we know so well. It's great to be here and plenty of iconic moments through the years. A couple of icons sitting next to me as well. No, that's way too much.
That's way too much.
Crofty's looking over your shoulder and rightly so. Good to see you both. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Nice
Very
to see
good.
you.
Nice not to be jet-lagged for a race. It's superb.
This is true, and actually much could be up and down the paddock. They're all saying it's great to just be a short-haul flight from home. It does make a difference. Just reflect, if you will, on some of the epic moments we've had here over the years. Do you have a favourite, Crofty?
Yeah, I do, actually. Yes, it's not a circuit where you get a lot of overtaking, but you do get some amazing results from time to time. And 7 years ago, here we were for the first time in Barcelona on Sky Sports F1, and Pastor Maldonado won a Grand Prix. I'm going to say that again, because some people might not have been around 7 years ago watching. Pastor Maldonado did win a Grand Prix.
From pole.
From pole. I remember leaving the commentary box and reading a tweet from someone after qualifying saying, I've got Pastor at 500 to 1 this weekend. And I tweeted them back to say, yeah, you've wasted your money. But what a performance from him. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, it was. I would pick Senna versus Mansell the first time we came here to Catalonia down the straight. That's just an iconic image of F1 history. Both of them sparks shouting as they head down towards turn 1.
Absolutely. What an image that was. OK, well, first up, we're going to hear from the Mercedes guys. And, of course, they have dominated all season so far. And the relationship between the two of them has, so far, been very good. But the question is, will rivalry start to kick in quite soon? Let's hear from them.
Lewis said, I was a little bit too friendly, I think was the word he used. Is it going to intensify, and how hard is it to tread that fine line of competition but behaving as teammates?
Well, I think we're both, you know, grown-up people, and we're both here to win, but we both have respect. So far, you know, with me and Lewis, it's been very good, and honestly, I can't see that changing. Only when we put the helmets on, we are going to race hard, but we're going to race fair, and may the best man win. But I can't see any reason why there would be any conflict. Obviously, it's going to be a close battle, I think, this year, and but that's what we all love.
What's really important is that we've pulled together as a team, and we've discussed it and hopefully rectified it, and that won't spring up again, as where what will happen before an individual just continue to go down that route. And but that's not what we have here. We have a really great energy within the team. As I said, the respect is there. We have a kind of an agreed rules set out so that we do finish the races 1-2, and we play supporting roles either way. And that's how, you know, I truly believe is the best pairing in terms of that respect, in terms of how we deliver each weekend, than any other team's ever had.
Could things change? We've seen momentum in football change in those Champions League semi-finals. Are Ferrari close enough to, you know, if they make a little step, that momentum could maybe go their way?
It's a long season ahead, so it can. Obviously, we try to prevent that. We have a good momentum now. We're performing on very impressive level, the whole team, at the track and at the factories. So we just try to keep our momentum.
Well, so far, so very good for Mercedes. They haven't put a foot wrong. Let's just remind ourselves of the race start, Crofty in Baku.
This was brilliant. This was hard, fast, fierce rivalry, but the respect was there. And that word, I think, we're going to use a lot. The drivers have used it as well, R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Unlike in 2016, they have respect for each other and for the team they're driving for as well, which is why I don't think we're going to see the flashpoint that was Hamilton-Rosberg boiling over, well, not at this stage of the season, but you want to see that in Baku. That was great. Mercedes allow the drivers to do it, Karun, and the drivers say, thanks ever so much for trusting us, we'll put on a show.
Yeah, but I think Lewis will regret that because he bailed out of it too early. You know, when you look at the replay of turn 1 and again at turn 2, I think in hindsight, he would have seen 2 opportunities for him to take the lead of that Grand Prix. And I'll bet if they're in the same situation going down to Barcelona, he won't be braking 10 meters early.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but he also talked today, Lewis Hamilton, about the rules of engagement that both drivers are racing under. And I wonder if that's part of that rules of engagement as well. If in doubt, don't go for it, because we want you both to get to the finishing line.
OK, well, they've got a 34-point buffer to Vettel in the drivers. Last time out, you said it was must-win weekend for Ferrari.
Yep, I was right.
Just ramp that up again this time. Let's hear from them.
74 points behind Mercedes right now in the constructors. Are you being Ferrari, or have we not seen the real Ferrari of this year yet?
No, I think it was more a state of mind of being we need to be very united, and I think this is exactly what is the state of mind at the moment in the team, and I think this is very positive. Then on the performance, performance-wise, I think there's more to come. I don't think it is as bad as the championship looks. Obviously, we have had 2 opportunities. Once I did a mistake on the other one. We had an issue that costed us a better result, but overall, I think the performance is there. We just need to try and put everything together in most of the occasions to be using our full potential.
If you watch the Champions League, you can see how momentum can swing very quickly in sports, Sebastian. Are the teams quite closely matched, more closely than the points table suggests, so that it wouldn't take that much to swing momentum Ferrari's way?
Yes and no. I think, you know, the races went that way for a reason also, not just because they got lucky. They worked really hard and they, in the end, did a better job, had a stronger package. Drove better, so it's a combination of a lot of things. But I don't think we're missing much. So, you know, we are fighting and looking very hard for that extra 10th or extra performance here and there to start turning it around.
A lot will be made about the upgrades, but is there still things to unlock from the package as a whole? You talked about it being a bit of a Rubik's Cube. Is there still a lot more to come in that sense?
Yeah, I think, you know, just the fact that inside the car sometimes it feels a bit better, sometimes feels a bit worse, but I think we have potential with this package, with this car, and you know, I believe more than what we showed. Obviously we think that we can also improve. The update should help us, so let's see where they put us.
So a week of comebacks. Can Vettel follow suit in the sporting manner, Karun, and do what's necessary to turn these things around?
Well, they need to, but unfortunately, I don't think it's as straightforward in Formula One as it is in football. You know, in football, we've seen how quickly games can change, and you know, you're reliant on the pure human element. Here, it's a man and machine, and you know, the way that works. Turnarounds are possible. I'm not saying it's not, and certainly Ferrari have to believe in it, and the fans need to. But it's not a short process. However, they're not a million miles off in terms of pace. They just need to string a weekend together. Because,
Crofty, it does seem that it's a combination of problems for Ferrari, reliability and some driver error.
Let me ask a question in answering a question. Are we absolutely certain Ferrari had the fastest car when we came here for winter testing? Because, yes, we've crunched all the numbers, we've looked at all the lap times, and yes, Ferrari were the fastest. But were they the fastest? Were Mercedes throwing everything at their car during winter testing or holding something back?
Are you going to answer your own question, or are you asking me? I'm confused here. What's going on?
I'm beginning to think.
Oh, you're answering it. Okay, carry on.
What's happened this season? Ferrari have been fastest in 2 races, Mercedes fastest in the other 2 races, but they've made the best job in 4 races. I'm beginning to think Ferrari weren't as strong a favourites coming into this season as we thought they were. Now, I might change my mind at the end of this weekend's race because Ferrari...
Will you ask yourself a question then as well?
Oh, I ask myself questions all the time. I've barely got enough answers to do all that. But I think there are a huge amount of problems at Ferrari, but the main one could be that actually they're not the favourites and Mercedes have a faster car. But we will know by the end of this weekend, because this is the circuit that sorts the men out from the boys in Formula One parlance, because it demands a bit of everything from man and machine.
Well, make sure you keep watching to find out. Not if Crofty continues to ask himself the questions. Luckily for you, you've got plenty of time to do it in.
Yes.
OK, on to McLaren now. They're fourth in the Constructors, leading a very tight midfield. Let's hear from the home favourite, Carlos Sainz.
No Fernando Alonso here, so what does it feel like to be carrying the burden of national hopes in Spain?
Well, it feels, I guess, special, like always, to be in Barcelona, to be racing in this amazing track, in this amazing atmosphere that is always Barcelona, and in my home race, you know, it's just special all the way around, and always wanting to do great here. It's been good for me in the past. Hopefully I can keep it up.
Well, he would certainly love a decent home race. The fans, I'll be very interested to see, actually, if they switch their allegiance from Fernando to him, because this is the first year that Fernando hasn't driven at his home race for a long time.
Yeah, Carlos is on great form this weekend. We had a good chat earlier today, which you can see in our Sunday race coverage show. And I think he's been a bit unlucky. He's a bit frustrated because he's been out-qualified by Lando Norris twice, but on both those occasions he had his laps scuppered by yellow flags and circumstances beyond his control. So clearly McLaren have done a good job, I think, over the winter. They're the most improved team of 2019 so far relative to last year. And for him, suddenly that move from yellow to McLaren is not looking so bad anymore.
Right time.
Certainly not. A quick word on the Grand Prix being held here. It's in doubt. That would be a massive shame, wouldn't it?
No.
What?
No, it wouldn't be a massive shame. From a personal point of view, I don't like the fact that we come to a racetrack where we test so much and have tested so much over the years.
Why? Because they know it so well.
Because they know it so well. I like coming to Barcelona. I think it's a great track. And if they didn't come testing here all the time, I think we should race here all the time. But what's the alternative? Zandvoort is being talked about for next year. A Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort, which has plenty of infrastructure problems that you don't need to know about back at home, because we'll be there covering it for you. But it will be a sea of orange, and it will be a magnificent weekend at one of those historic tracks that actually there's been 29 races at Zandvoort in Formula One. This is the 29th Formula One Grand Prix here in Barcelona. I think it's in doubt. I think the crowd will dwindle because they came to see Alonso, not Carlos Sainz. But wouldn't it be great to see him as the 100th podium visited by a Spaniard in Formula One this weekend? Talking of that sea of orange, he, of course, won on his debut here back in 2016. Max Verstappen, we'll hear from him after the break how he would love to emulate the success of 2016.
Schumacher wins the Spanish Grand Prix.
A very warm welcome back to a glorious paddock, basking in the Spanish sunshine, and those eagle-eyed amongst you will see that Crofty has morphed into Paul di Resta. Crofty's gone off to find that...
slimmer.
Yes, he's gone to find that enormous
and
paella.
You can turn the volume down a bit.
Oh, can we? Is that a promise? What do you make of this track? What I want to know is, when drivers come here as much as they do they get bored of it?
I guess you can, but you know that's the nature of what Formula One's about. They want a bit of familiar testing so they can see what the car's about. The one thing about this weekend is, though, anything we've learned over the first 4 races, we know Ferrari left here with the fastest car, we think, but we will only see the true extent of who is the real leader, because I think this is the first true test between medium speed corners, slow speed corners, and it's got the high speed corners, and it's got the weather consistent, which is, I think, is the most important
You
thing.
say that, it was freezing last year.
It was freezing, but I think the big thing is, can Ferrari topple what they did in testing? And if they can, they've nearly dominated 2 weekends, but you know they've not won the Grand Prix that they should have, and this will see where Mercedes are.
Okay, Red Bull are currently 3rd in the constructors, 109 points behind Mercedes. Let's hear from their drivers. The crucial question is, with all these upgrades coming, everybody has them, will yours make the difference?
Well, that's what we are hoping, but yeah, I mean the others are also not standing still, so we also have to be realistic. But yeah, I hope we just get a bit of a better balance in the car, and yeah, hopefully it will bring us closer to the guys.
Personally, how would you rate your season so far? Because you've been consistent, 3 4th place finishes. Frustrating for you not to be up there, really mixing it with the top 2 teams, but how would you reflect on the first 4 races?
Yeah, it's been all right. I mean, trying to maximize every opportunity we have. Even in Baku, I think we had actually a good pace in the race. We just lost out a little bit in the beginning and maybe went a bit too long after in the first stint. But yeah, like I said, you know, then hopefully here we can be closer and then we can actually really fight, because now it feels like all the time in the race we are competitive, but always have to catch up a little bit. So yeah, I guess, you know, time will tell.
So what will you walk away on Sunday happy with as a result?
Well, only first. Yeah, of course.
Which difficulties you had in the adaptation with your car in the first 4 races?
I think it's more like basically doing what I would like, so driving the way I want, and maybe the car didn't respond exactly as I expected or as I would have liked. But I think the directions we took clearly went in the right direction. We had a couple of issues as well in the beginning of the season that didn't help me to perform the way I should. But yeah, hopefully this weekend we can have everything clean, put everything together, and get a good result on Sunday.
Yeah, a stronger race from Gasly in Baku, much needed. A strong showing this weekend, do you believe, from both drivers?
I think Gasly needs it. You know, Baku, which is Paul and I were just talking about, there were signs, you know, based on the strategy and where he was relative to Leclerc. They were the 2 drivers starting on the medium. You could look at the pace. Yeah, you know, if you look through the data, it was fine. And obviously the issue is so he didn't finish the race. But he needs to get a solid result on the board. It needs to be there in black and white on the timing pages.
Like you said, everybody's tested here. There's no excuses at this track as a driver doesn't know it. Max came in here the first time at Red Bull and won a race, made a statement, secured his future in Formula One. Pierre could do that this weekend. If he has a great weekend and dominates Max, it'll just secure him that bit longer as well. OK, well, the man that Pierre Gasly replaced, Daniel Ricciardo, comes into this weekend with a 3-place grid penalty. Let's remind you why that is. Locking up and then inexplicably reversing into Daniel Kvyat, putting paid to both their races. Let's hear from him.
Daniel, I know you want this weekend to be a kind of reset. It's the start of the European season. Is it a pain to have that little grid penalty because you kind of want a clean start?
I mean, it's not nice having a grid penalty, but you know, I'm not going to argue with it. It was obviously a pretty unique incident, and I had to obviously cop it on the chin. So yeah, I'm not going to complain about that. It is what it is, and yeah, just got to qualify further up the front and kind of minimize that damage. But honestly, I think if we execute a good weekend, that shouldn't dictate the overall result. You know, I think if we are quick enough, we will come through, you know, the places that we obviously give up through the penalty. But yeah, that's really at the back of my mind. It's really just practice, execute, quali, and show some speed.
Well, his smile is still there. And actually, morale, he says in the camp, is pretty good at the moment, despite everything that's happened. But they really need to turn things around this weekend, don't they?
They really need to. I mean, you know, when you look at the stats, they've had the 9th fastest car on the qualifying average for the first 4 races. Yeah, okay, they did a good job in China, but in the other 3 races, they were behind their customer team from a power unit standpoint at McLaren. So that's not what Daniel signed up for. You know, he went there believing they're going to be closer to the top 3 teams. He didn't think they'd be a top 3, but at least closer. And they're actually further away.
Certainly not behind McLaren.
No, and that's where I think the pressure is ramping up, certainly on Cyril. But they've got one of the best wheel-to-wheel racers probably behind Lewis, with Daniel. Nico, who probably deserved to be in a top team early in his career, he's not there. So driver lineup's great. They're pushing each other all the way, but it's the time to get the toolbox, and then they start delivering it.
Absolutely. OK, plenty more stories around the paddock. Let's hear from them. Kimi, K-Mag, Alex Albon and George Russell coming up.
This is the race that everyone plans. Most people plan to have an upgrade, so I don't think we'll be the only ones that have a few upgrades. So we'll see how it pans out. I think we've got a good car already, aero-wise, and I think our main problem is keeping the tires in the window in the race, because in qualifying it's been good this year, and yeah, that's where we need to find make progress.
1 or 2 niggly little issues, including the flexible wing. Are you confident the team can address those?
Yeah, I mean, we are. Obviously, that's nothing that we... Unfortunate thing, the both cars are exactly same spec, and some reason my wing seemed to have some issues. So obviously it came out of nowhere, but yeah, that's what happened. And yeah, I think it's been okay start, but I think overall we could have get more points.
How different do you feel to the rookie that started 4 races ago?
Yeah, I'm more used to speaking to you guys. But no, I feel better, especially with the car. Feel more confident with it. And more than that, I'd say more comfortable with speaking to the team, because it is a big team and a lot of people to speak to.
I think a lot of teams will be bringing sizable upgrades to this weekend. Unfortunately, probably a lot due to the Baku incident, actually. Everything had to pretty much stop in the production to rebuild the chassis, rebuild floors and additional parts that were broken from that incident. So yeah, we've got a few delays due to that. So maybe a few races down the line before we start seeing a few more improvements.
Paul, who are the dark horses this weekend? Who can spring a surprise?
I think the Toro Rosso boys probably in there. I think it's a car that works on high downforce. They normally go well around here, and the new Honda engine proved to be good in Azerbaijan as well.
Well, they were saying to me that they just need to hook things up. Little niggly problems, but actually the true pace of the car deserves stronger points finishes than they've had.
But that's the story of Toro Rosso's life, isn't it? They've had a quick car for on so many seasons in the past. They haven't been able to close it out. Even Jody Egginton, their technical director, said the same thing to me. He says, But I'm interested to see what happens with Haas, because they've got a quick car. They're able to qualify well, but this can't capitalize on it on Sunday.
Absolutely.
Here, there's not going to be any tyre warm-up issues on Sunday. The tyres take a lot of loads in these long radius corners, and the track temperature should be at a reasonable temperature as well. So I think they should be in a better position.
Absolutely, and Gunther Steiner has said they've got a significant upgrade package to look forward to. So yeah, watch this space. And watch this space for plenty more exciting things to see on Sky F1 this weekend.
The move to McLaren's worked out quite well, hasn't it?
I'm happy. I was happy when I signed for this team back in the summer break. I know this team is extremely powerful in Formula One. I think it's the right place to be for me right now, and I'm working extremely hard to help them get back to the top.
Do you consider yourself a title contender this year, or are you looking at this as sort of groundwork, preparation, if you like, for the future?
Obviously, I'm going to go for it anyway. Obviously, it's my first year in a top team, so I've still got a lot to learn, but on the other hand, I want to do the best results possible.
Most people can only ever imagine what it's like driving a Formula One car right to its limits. Only a select few really get the chance. But hopefully, with the help of this man here, Valtteri Bottas, we can give you guys a flavour of some of those experiences.
And here here are all the key times that you need to know ahead of the weekend. So practice 1 is from 9:45 tomorrow, P2 from 9:45, and a summary of what's happened during the day at 4:30. Then on Saturday, practice 3 from 11:15, quali from 1, and the F1 show 4:45. And then race day, 2:10, the crucial time. And do join us to see Jenson Button, who's going to be joining us for the first time this year. That'll be good fun. Boys, prediction, please, very quickly.
Lewis.
Okay, that's it. And pole I was looking for as well, maybe as well.
Yeah, Lewis for both. Yeah,
Done.
yeah.
I'm kind of hoping Charles. I think he deserves it after the run he had in Bahrain, taking off him in Azerbaijan, that mistake. I think mentally he's there.
And who needs a really strong race this weekend?
I think Vettel.
Okay, good stuff. Well, make sure you join us tomorrow for plenty of action and across the whole weekend. But for now, from us here in Barcelona, it's hasta mañana.
Sky Sports F1. Feel it all.